Sarah slammed the bedroom door shut, her whole body shaking. Her heart hammered so hard it felt like it might crack her ribs. The moment the door clicked shut, a deep, menacing voice rumbled from somewhere inside the room. "This house belongs to me. Get out." Sarah didn't wait around to think twice. She spun and half ran, half stumbled down the staircase, tripping over her own feet. At the bottom, she braced against the wall, chest heaving. What she didn't know yet, that voice was the least of what this house had waiting for her family. 3 months earlier, Mark Coleman's job relocated him and his family from the city to a small town in rural Ohio. His wife Sarah, their son Ethan, and their daughter Chloe. After a few cramped weeks in a company apartment, a local agent named Doug showed them an old 2-story farmhouse just outside town. Beautiful, isolated, $500 a month. "Owners live overseas," Doug explained. "Place has sat empty for years. I talked them into renting it out just to keep it maintained." Mark didn't hesitate. Sarah wasn't so sure. Something about the place felt off the moment she stepped inside, but by the following month, they'd moved in. There was one detail Doug hadn't mentioned. Upstairs, one of the 2 bedrooms was locked. Mark didn't think much of it until Sarah insisted on getting it opened, just in case guests ever stayed over. A locksmith came. The door opened. That same night, everything changed. Sarah was waiting up for Mark, who was running late. The house was too quiet. Then the unmistakable feeling of someone walking directly behind her. She spun around. Nothing there. But the kitchen light, which she knew she'd switched off, was glowing at the end of the hall. She told herself it was nothing. She was wrong. The next morning, before anyone else was awake, Ethan wandered into the kitchen rubbing his eyes. "Mommy, why was that boy standing by my bed last night?" Sarah's blood went cold. "What boy, baby?" "The one who lives upstairs. He watches me sleep." She laughed it off for Ethan's sake. Inside, she was already unraveling. 2 days later, Chloe came home early from school. She rang the doorbell and the door swung open on its own before anyone answered. "Mom!" No answer. The smell of dinner cooking drifted from the kitchen and then curdled, mid-breath, into something rotten. She turned the corner and screamed. An old woman and a small boy sat cross-legged on the kitchen floor, eating handfuls of blackened, decayed food with their bare hands. Neither one looked up. Neither one blinked. Chloe bolted out the front door, straight into Sarah and Ethan coming up the driveway. "Mom, someone's inside." Sarah's stomach dropped. She had locked that door herself. She called Mark. "Come home. Now." That night, sleep was impossible. A loud crash echoed from upstairs. Sarah left the kids with Mark and crept up the staircase alone, phone flashlight shaking in her hand. The first room, empty. She opened the second door. The old woman and the boy were on the floor not moving, eyes wide open, staring directly at her, as if they'd been waiting. Sarah slammed the door and bolted downstairs. From behind it, the voice followed her. "This house belongs to me. Get out." Desperate, Mark brought in a paranormal investigator, Dr. Alan Reyes. Within minutes of setting foot in the second bedroom, every piece of his equipment shorted out at once, every battery drained simultaneously, like something had reached out and switched them off. "Whatever's in there," Alan said quietly, "it doesn't want to be found. It wants you gone." A spiritual medium, Diane Ashworth, came next. She lasted less than 10 minutes upstairs before objects began flying off the shelves and the walls shook with pounding from somewhere inside them. She backed out pale and shaking. "These spirits were trapped here long before you," she told them. "There's no removing them. If you stay, they will never stop showing you they're still here." Mark didn't argue this time. Within a week, the Colemans were gone for good. Later, they'd learned the real owner had died overseas around the time they moved in, and the house was sealed shut permanently after that. To this day, the farmhouse still stands on Millbrook Road, empty and silent. Anyone who wanders too close still hears that same voice drift down from the upstairs window. "This house belongs to me. Get out." But there's one thing the Colemans never told anyone. Weeks after they left, Sarah was unpacking Ethan's things in their new home when she found it, tucked at the bottom of his backpack, wrapped in an old shirt. A small, worn wooden toy, not one of his. Some nights, she swears she can still hear a child laughing from somewhere out there in the dark.